Welcome to Call with Dads. Let's talk.
YouTube.
Oh, you know what happened to me yesterday?
What's that?
I get a notification that I have $24 coming to my account from Pancakes with your dad. And I was like, what's that from? So I looked it up. I looked at it.
Yeah.
And someone, like 2 days ago, had gone to the Pancakes with your dad website and ordered 10 of the Gary Plauché stickers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the $2. They're $2 a piece.
Right.
So it was on hold, and the reason I got the notification is because it was on hold, and actually I need to call the bank today because my debit card expires January 1st.
Oh.
So it was on hold because the bank or the Printify was making sure that I had the funds. And I was like, yeah, I get the funds. Oh, that's why it's not expired yet, but it's about to expire, and they didn't want to dip it. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, it's good people are ordering from there. I know.
Yeah, it was like the first order I've had in like a year.
Yeah. So, hey, look at it. We don't get too many orders off of Call with Dads either, but
Right.
we also don't advertise much.
Yeah. I mean, it's only like $3 profit, but
Yeah.
but
Hey, but that helps pay for all the stuff we tried to do. So.
Right.
But
something is something.
Since we are live streaming, I doubt everyone wants to hear us talk about our shops.
Our shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, so I got this thing in my tooth, this infection right here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny the things like. Speaking of shops, before we get into the whole topic, I swear I just am setting up my son's webpage and then all this. He's starting his own business selling cockroaches and crickets.
It's awesome.
And it is, but the problem is like, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's like bins back here.
Bunch of cockroaches?
Yes. One's cockroaches, one's crickets. Nice. And this is the starter kit.
You just open my cabinets and there's plenty in there.
Well, from looking at it, there's cockroaches I wouldn't be allowed to ship down to Florida into your area.
Oh yeah, probably.
Florida's quite restrictive, but like he has worms, has all this, and it's funny to sit there and think a second grader is doing his own business, but he has to start sometime.
Yeah, I mean, even if it doesn't do good, like, I mean, he's learning the basics of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm learning the basics of it, and I'm 41.
Yeah, I'm 47, and I'm still learning a lot of it. Him
learning the basics of it at 7 or 8 years old is good because he's way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Speaking of learning things, the one thing that diving into this whole topic about was it 7? I always get the numbers mixed up, and that's part of my dyslexia.
I do too. Yeah, because I'm not familiar with it. But yeah, I mean, you want to dive into it?
Yeah, let's dive into it. The 764 cult or network
764 network or group or whatever.
Yeah, it's. I think the first time I heard about it, you mentioned it because of the Shawn Ryan Show.
The Shawn Ryan Show, yeah. And I've heard of it before, but it was like many years ago, and it was one of those things where it was just like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't play video games, so.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, the crazy thing about this is it's highly focused on the users talk on Discord.
Yeah.
But they are predators on Roblox, on what is it, Minecraft?
Yeah.
And things like that, and
everything. So they were the main sources of where their groups and networks house themselves is in Discord.
Right.
But they don't necessarily just attract people to Discord. They don't just go on Discord and find people. You know what I mean? They go to places like Instagram or Roblox, Snapchat,
Telegram. was it
Yeah.
Telegraph or something? That's another
Telegram,
bit-
yeah, Telegram.
Telegram.
Not too many young kids use Facebook, but they do. So Facebook, TikTok, and some of them are young, some of them are older, and that's what they do. They lure them and they groom them until they get over to Discord, and that's when the bad stuff starts.
Well, from what I understand, it's most people, their first thought is, oh, I need to make sure my kids is, and then it's big into the sexual side of stuff, and it's
sex and suicide
and self-harm and
self-harm stuff, yeah,
and harming others, and it's all grooming, all this stuff. What the craziest thing is, you would sit there and think, oh, well, this had to be started by some older perverted guy.
Right.
I was watching a video where they were talking about the person that started it, and by the time he was arrested and sentenced, he wasn't even 18 yet. He was like some young, doofy looking kid.
Right.
And I guess he got bullied to all living hell and back. And he had some mental issues, like not mentally retarded, but like just unstable mentally and all this.
Right.
And I guess depending on how bad you're getting bullied, I imagine it can definitely do that to you.
Yeah. So he was 15 years old. He was a 15-year-old kid. Yeah, 15. His name was Bradley Chance Cadenhead. He had like an online alias named Felix. And I guess he started out in some other group called CVLT, which if you look at it written out, it's cult.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just a V is kind of the U at the same time. And that group kind of taught him to do this.
Okay.
But that group wasn't very large. It was enough. It had its problems. Of course, a lot of people, same on that group, went to jail and stuff, but that group taught him at 15 how to do this to other people. And he basically used his youth, because he was young, in network with a lot of other youth and stuff like that, used that and just scaled it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Basically turned it into just like this massive, like, underground internet, like, network of people. We all think, why can't they just shut it down? You know what I mean? Because so it's probably like that. It's thousands and thousands of people. You know what I mean? And they have arrested people, but the problem is every time they shut one down, 3 more pop up. They're basically just little pop-ups. They just keep popping up, new groups.
Well, on top of that, it's not just here in America where it's happening either. It's in India. Yeah. Like one of the big people in the group is in India, I saw. So trying to find somebody in India with the crowding people there.
Right. Yeah.
If you want to hide in India, you just step in the street and you're lost. You know? But
and then the network, computer programs that we have, the VPNs that are just some of them. Some of these people, you go on your phone, you find a VPN. That's an okay VPN, but is it really a real VPN? Some of these people make their own.
Oh yeah, and I've looked into making my own, and it's a chore to do. It's not impossible to do by any means, but if
you do that, they'll never find you.
Well, if you do your own, you control your own records. But there is a lot of challenges to it. I've never followed through with it, but I've seen the backside of it to do, and it's doing your own is definitely going to give you more control over what's being seen out there. And these aren't stupid people doing this. They learn to hack your systems. They learn to blackmail people. They do the sex, like blackmail, they do stuff to make people so that they're so either so depressed and down and manipulated that. Was it the Shawn Ryan Show was talking about one guy, and I'm very happy I didn't get into that deep of this research, but he talked he talked about one guy being manipulated to and so downtrodden that he ended up just killing himself, like lighting himself on fire and doing all this on a live stream, a closed live stream for these people to watch. And these people are so sick to the point that they made fun of him about the way he was dying.
Yeah, they were
laughing at him and all this stuff and sharing the videos. And it's like, you think about how dementally cruel somebody has to be,
right,
to laugh, and how disconnected you have to be,
right. Yeah, and so the person, I remember that. Well, I remember seeing that. So the person that did that to the guy that manipulated him into this, it was actually a young girl.
Okay.
And so she was part of one of the breakout groups. She was part of the overall 764 cult or whatever, but she was part of one of the breakout groups.
Right.
And she was actually manipulated by them into essentially becoming one of them.
Right.
And part of the process, part of the process of doing that was manipulating someone of herself. So that was kind of her initiation or whatever. And if you watch the video, obviously they don't show the guy that happening, but you can hear everything going on. So not only are they making fun of him dying, and how he's dying and things, but they're also cheering. They're giving props to the girl. Hey, good job. Look what you did. This is amazing. Good job at what you've done. We did this together, so on and so forth. And they're going on and on and on about this. About this guy just sitting there. And while he's just sitting there burning and screaming to death, and then eventually just dies.
And I'll admit, a lot of what I learned was from this episode of Shawn Ryan. That's where...
Yeah. And so that Ryan Montgomery guy's pretty smart. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to have him on our show.
Yeah. As much as it would be great to have him on to discuss these things and how to actually protect our kids.
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath. I'll say it that way.
We're not cool enough. We're not big enough.
The one fact is that if what you do is, people would probably be sitting there going, oh, I just need to make sure my kids don't go to anything that says 764. But one thing that it's shown is, like you said, these breakout groups, they don't have 764 in their name. They don't have anything like that. They're umbrellaed. It's basically 764 has become an umbrella group to where you have all these people kind of interacting and what so have you, where these smaller groups, they might have people that's in multiple of these groups. And like you said, there's been a lot of arrests and a lot of focus. The FBI is right now under Trump's administration, they're highly focused on putting this down.
Yeah.
So, but it's around the world, so other countries are just like, I don't care.
Yeah. So for a lot of people, for parents out there's information. I know sometimes we kind of go off the rails a little bit weird. So I'll try to explain slowly the best in depth of what the 764 group is. So it's an online, basically cultivist group that there is no direct like headquarters or location. It's just a spider web of shenanigans of people that are all supposedly part of it. There's no head. There's no leader. It's just a bunch of people online that consider themselves under this umbrella. And they basically, what they do is they target and they find weak people, sometimes adults, but not so much adults. More so, they target young children from around the group, the ages of 7 to about 15 or 16. So they target. They actually target girls more often because girls are more emotional and physically weaker in that type of stature Not saying girls are weak, so please don't, cancel me. But in that aspect, they usually go after girls more. And what they do is they groom them into either taking like sexual pictures of themselves, or photos or images, or even giving up information about their parents and pictures of their parents, or whatever the case is. That way they can eventually groom them more using blackmail. And then what they do, there is no goal. They won't, there is no goal of getting money. There's no goal of getting pornography from these young child pornography from these people. They do it out of spite.
They do it out of spite. They also do it for blackmail purposes.
Right, for blackmail purposes, yeah. And the end goal is not to gain money or gain child pornography so they can do bad stuff to it. The end goal is to get someone to do like extreme things. So either like there was a couple of them where one guy or one girl actually was live streaming murdering her cat and then holding up pictures of it like this. And then in that same video, it shows her cutting her own throat and killing herself, in the same video. And they did this to her. They mentally manipulated her. And I think she was like 12 or 13 years old. She was like a kid, you know what I mean? They do it to all different kinds of children. Like the one guy that burnt himself alive, he was not a young guy, but he wasn't an old guy. It's probably the, high teens, 20s, right in that age, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of cases of this going on. From what I was reading, the FBI has like 300 and something open active investigations on it. But that's basically the scale of what it is. And they use things like Roblox, Instagram, what's that other one that's like Roblox?
There's Minecraft.
Minecraft, that's it. Yeah.
Which
they use TikTok, all of them.
Right. And, the one other thing that I read about it is a lot of this is highly based in, or a lot of the groups are based in satanic worship as well.
Yes.
So,
satanic worship.
So that's how they rationalize a lot of what they're doing is it's for their religion, their belief set, et cetera, et cetera.
So what I was reading about it says they're essentially what's called nihilists. So they worship chaos, and their belief is real power comes from being able to harm somebody without hesitation.
Physically doing?
Yeah, without like hesitation or regret or anything like that. Their goal is that's what their belief is. They believe harming people is just another normal day. You know what I mean?
Right.
So some of the different groups, there's Greggy's cult. Let's see.
Yeah, there's still the CVLT
or cult.
That's still there.
Yeah, or cultist. That's another one. CVLTIST, where it's just cultist. They're same. There's Court or Courtbox. Kaskar with a K, Kaskar.
Oh, there's
Harm
a huge
Nation.
list of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we sit and list it all off, that would be the entire show.
These are the main ones.
Yeah.
League Society, H3LL, Hell, No Lives Matter, 8884, and then Sewer, like SEW3R, and Maniac Murder, or MKUMMC, Maniac Murder Cult. Those are the main ones. There's breakouts from there, but just to help you keep an eye on those main ones at least.
Well, I think the big thing is, one, be aware of these groups, but I mean, with all the breakouts, all the small groups that are within that's basically part of this larger group and what so have you. Because, like I said, from what I read, these people are in multiple groups of these places to interact with each other and
Right.
share information. But so they'll probably try to pull people in from the smaller ones and then bring them into the larger one.
Yep.
The big thing that we need to worry about is this is kind of where my mind's going is, we have younger kids. They're going to be coming up to this. And the fact is we have so much crazy crap going on in the world that your first thought is, well, how can I protect my kids? One thing, like the conversation we had with Pastor Ron, we mentioned this 764 group, and the one thing you pointed out was that on your local community, there's a lady selling Roblox gift cards.
Yeah, Roblox gift cards.
And the one thing I wonder is how many of these people are going on to Facebook selling the Roblox gift cards, finding out this, that, and using that to
using that as a target, as a way to find people.
Yeah. The fact is one is, and there's several things here that kind of drive me with this thought of why it's happening so rapidly. One, like I am very much on top of what my kid watches.
Same.
There's a thing with Google where you can have the family link where you can set up a profile, see the history of what's watched, what's done, which websites are gone to, things like that. We just upgraded our router to have a VPN, to have a child protection, all this. But it's also, a lot of this is, like, what was it, the Shawn Ryan, he showed a video where the dad grabs it and the guy basically threatened the dad. The dad tried to act hard, and then the dad ended up giving the tablet back to his daughter.
Right. Giving it back to her and just letting her do it again anyways.
Yeah, and what it comes down to is a lot of parents is at the point of all the stuff to keep up with, all the stuff to know. We try to teach our kids this and that, but it comes down to a lot of these kids have families that are trying to be active with their kids, but at the same time, they're trying to live their life. They're trying to, and I think we're as older parents, you're 41, I'm 47. I'm at the end of the Gen X where it was, the parenting style was get your butt in order, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
If you get hurt. Yeah. I was talking with the nanny, and who, like I've talked about before, is she's used so that when I'm working, she can help out with my kid in a few areas that I need so that I can homeschool my kid and be able to teach them a lot more things. But as I was talking with her, she was sitting there going, oh, well, I was the last generation without technology. And I looked at her, I said, well, actually, no. I was, because when I was growing up, I did not have internet till I was, I think it was high school.
Yeah, same.
And it was dial-up. And I made a joke about the whole dial-up sound of sound that when you hear, growing up in our age group, hearing that, you could have your eyes closed and not know what goes on. You hear that sound, you're like, that's dial-up internet. Yeah. She was like, oh, I never heard that sound. I'm like, okay, you grew up in the age of DSL, where web pages were more than just a white page with text.
Yeah.
I mean, where the images were clear enough you could see, and it wasn't pixels that you're going, that's what? So, but the thing is that people are sitting there so focused on their lives that, and there's technology, the internet is so ingrained in their lives because a lot of the people now with kids are people that grew up with the internet their entire lives. They trust it because they've had it. It's like you get in your car and because you're used to driving, you're trusting it's going to work because you know it's supposed to work.
Right. Yeah.
So, and they grew up at a time before the internet was scary and oh, you have all these things to worry about. I mean, you would have to worry about chat groups on
Yeah.
AOL,
Yeah.
but in all truth, you also
I remember
had
AOL chat groups. Yeah.
we all remember AOL. Well, our generation always remembers AOL chat groups.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the general point of all this is me. I grew up with my parents saying, "Don't do anything online that we don't know about because we don't know what's out there."
Yeah.
And it's part of that of. So I have that mindset of be paranoid, be cautious, be a conspiracy theorist if you have to be. And I'll admit, my everyone jokes about how much conspiracy theorist I am, but I'm sitting there going, like my family, oh, you're too overbearing about the foods. Then I start sending out, fine, here. I flood them with documentations, with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, yeah, I see what you're saying. And people are allowing their kids to do stuff either because they don't think that there's anything to worry about. Oh, this is a company ran thing. It's not some fringe group that's running on Discord. And
Well, I mean, so some in my eyes, some of it is
the company doing it.
for parents is parental narcissism. You know what I mean? So in some people will simply just they don't care because it won't happen to me,
Right.
and that's a reality. That's a lot of parents. That's the self-perception of naivety, whatever you call it, basically being naive. But they purposely be naive. It's not like they're naive because they're an idiot. They're naive because I don't want to see.
Right.
I don't want to see. You know what I mean? So that's some parents, and then there's parents that,
Just don't care.
they want the attention. So in a way, they if something they want the attention and the sympathy from others. So if this does happen to them, it's, oh, woe is me. Oh, please help me out. My
Their
my
kids
mother
are showpieces.
You're right. My mother was very much like that. And then you have the extreme versions of narcissistic people. And not knocking on women, but priority more so it's in the women, the mothers that do this. Where
It's the feminine
right,
side of people.
what kind of mother would ever be like, oh yeah, my 8-year-old is transgender?
Right.
That's pure evil. That is completely pushing it onto your child. You made that child transgender, and that's the type of parent that will promote this type of behavior in these type of groups and this type of stuff to their child. More likely so that they're probably involved in it in the first place. So
Probably.
in my eyes, yeah, it was sad. In my eyes, when it comes to this stuff, there is almost no excuse if this happens to your child. It can happen, and I get it. And maybe I'm a little extreme, you know what I mean? And I get it, I understand. But to me, there's no excuse. As far as I'm concerned, my child will never be on Roblox. Not ever. She won't even know it exists. If somebody tells her that it does at school, nope, sorry, done, gone. Well, no, what are you going to do? Cry about it for 2 days? Well, it's my job as a parent to work with her, teach her, deal with that, and move on. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not my job to be like, oh, all right, here, all right, honey, fine. You've cried enough. You can have it now. No, I'm never going to give in, because the opposite to giving in, or the repercussions of giving in, there's the word. The repercussions of giving in is, granted, probably only about 5%, but that 5% is so detrimental, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? So there is no reason, not ever, that any parent should be like, oh yeah, my child can definitely go play Roblox and definitely go
Right.
play Minecraft. No, not ever, not once, not even close, not ever. So
Right.
I see it as kind of one of those things, and this is a view that I have as a parent, right? And I know a lot of parents, a lot of people are like, well, you got to take care of yourself and your mental health. Fuck that. Be a man. Sorry for the rude word, but act like an adult. Be a man. Grow up. I had my child. I was 34 years old, right? When
Right.
she was born. I had 34 years of life, from my early my late teens, like 1800s. I'm dumb. My
Nice.
18, 19 years old, all the way till I was like in my early 30s, of partying, boozing, smoking, doing drugs, banging girls, traveling the world in the military, doing it with girls. So if there was anybody that's the poster boy for getting it out of their system before they got married, that was me. That was this guy. I did it all. And you know what? Why can't I pause for 18 years to ensure my child is raised right, to ensure she has a parent and has a father and all that stuff, pause all of my own self-pity and narcissism and whatever else you want to call it, and just say, all right, I lived my life for me for a long time. Now is not the time to live my life for me. Now my life is dedicated to the child and to my family. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
And these are the people that, this is for the people that are not so godly, because for the most part you should be living for God and living for Christ. But if you're not so godly, I understand not everybody is. I don't push it on no one. If you live for your family, you don't need to live for you. Live for your family. When all of this is over and your child is old and married, had a great life with her family, and so on and so forth, mine's a girl, so with his or her family or whatever, and you want to get back to having a great time, granted you're married now, maybe you and your wife can go do weird shit together. Whatever.
Maybe.
Go have fun, have a good time. You don't have a child anymore to deal with, so to raise, and so on and so forth. So that's just my eyes. That's just me. Maybe I'm
Right.
extreme in the factor, but
No, and here's the thing is, like, my past, and speaking of poster boy for getting it out of your system, like, I literally came from a small town, ended
I
up
think that's why
finding
we're both in this podcast.
probably. But I basically came from a small town, then went to a city, Toledo, Ohio, where I got into a company that allowed me to travel the country. And nothing says fun play toy to girls than the guy that comes in from out of town. So, and I was young, I was adventurous, I was crazy, blah, blah, blah. But I was also the nice bad boy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was polite. I treated people well for the most part, as long as they were polite. But I was also that guy that was doing stuff that people sat there and goes, "Well, that's not appropriate." You know what I mean? But with that being said, I also was around people that were criminals, druggies.
Right.
Let's just say they I was actually good, very good in compared to a lot of the people I was around. And that to me is why I can sit there and say I've seen how bad people can be.
Right.
I haven't seen how bad people are to the extent of 764,
Yeah,
but
this is
or
nuts.
746 or whatever it is.
764.
Yeah, but I I've learned to be very paranoid and very untrusting of strangers.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I've tried to instill into my kids is
Mm-hmm.
you can play with people, play with your friends, do these things, but unless mommy or daddy tells you, you do not spend time, you do not talk to adults without either one of us saying yes, it's okay.
Right.
Even if we're there, you do not talk to them without us saying it's okay, because people will try to talk to you
Mm-hmm.
and try to get you to respond to them so they can get information, even if mommy and dad are trying to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
So it's this paranoia where, like, my mom, I've talked to her, she's very trusting. She's very nice, but she's also grown up and lived her entire life in a small town community where most of the people, or people that
Yeah.
knows the people and things like that. So it's a different type of
Yeah.
living.
It's a different world. Yeah.
Yeah, where me, I've been in the bigger cities.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the ghetto-y kind of crappy places, and I've seen things
Yeah.
that most people wouldn't even think is normally
Right.
acceptable and what's
See,
have you,
my
where
my wife's mom is
that way.
same as your mom. Grew up in a very small town. You know, still lives in the same area in a small town. Been in the same house for 50 years, 60 years. You know, they've traveled a few different places, and I mean,
But what
I know that she knows things, but
it's not a common thought
she yeah,
because of how
she's
they live.
so naive to everything. It's like,
And it's not the and let me say this, it's not to say that when you travel you see the
right,
bad. Like when I talk about traveling, I was doing
yeah,
trade shows. We did
yeah, and it's a
event.
different type of traveling,
Yeah, I wasn't traveling for fun.
right?
I was going for work. I was in areas that aren't touristy, and my free time was at night when all the bad people,
Right.
the delinquents came out.
Yeah, and the trade show network is not for the faint of
No, it is not. So,
heart.
but the general purpose of my comments there is that a lot of people, so I have a jaded view of the world. There's no
Yeah,
question. You obviously have a jaded view of the world. But as much as people try to sit there and go, oh, well, that you shouldn't be that way, you shouldn't do this, whatever, the fact is I rather be mean to those people that are coming into my yard. I rather be, if I don't know you and you step onto my property, you better have a
yeah.
reason. You better be ready to explain it.
Right, stab.
And if if you basically don't have that, you better be ready to leave very quickly.
Yeah,
And it's not generally I don't try to be an asshole,
right.
but I am when it comes to strangers and all this, because my first goal is in making you feel welcome in my house. My
Yeah,
first goal is to be ready to kill you if you try to do something to
right.
my
To make
kid.
sure, yeah, you don't fuck with my family. Or try
Yeah,
to mess with my family. Yeah, that's
that's
right.
fine. We can bleep the
Bleep.
audio. The audio will be bleeped out.
Yeah,
But
live. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
something similar. So I was talking to my wife's mom. We were on the couch, just that she came in a couple weeks back. You know, we were just BSing or whatever. And
right.
I was we were talking about because I work out at least 2 to 3 hours every day, and sometimes I take a day off during the week, like one day. But it's
Right.
usually about 5 6 days a week 2 to 3 hours. I lift heavy. I eat
Mm-hmm.
protein, and I work out a lot. You know what I mean? I would like to start fight training a little bit but I just don't have the time right now. I do have lots of experience fighting, you know what I mean, and training and fighting and stuff like that. Back from my earlier years. But we were talking about that stuff, and she's like, I just don't understand why you work out so much. Why do you stay up? Because I stay up usually till about 10 o'clock at night working out. And then after that, I do a couple more things. I'm usually up till about 11, 12, midnight, and then I go to sleep, and I get up at 5:45 every morning.
Right.
And she's like, I just don't know why you put yourself through that. And, and she's like, I just don't understand people who have guns in their house, people who do this stuff. And I looked at her and I said, look, like it's, me as a man and the father of this house, it is my duty, it is my job to ensure that with myself, my wife, my daughter, you, Grandpa, and if my parents were here, if there was a neighbor over the house, and then we had one of our friends' parents and their kids over from school. So say we got 15 people in the house. Half of them are grown men. It is my duty, it is my job to ensure that if anything were to pop off, I can kill every single one of you in less than 30 minutes, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
I am so strong, I am so fast, I'm so powerful, and I'm so well skilled with my combat and tactical training and stuff that every single one of you will die in less than 30 minutes, probably less than 10, if I choose that to be fit. If I choose that to be what's going to happen. And not you choose, me.
And as harsh as that sounds.
Yeah. She was like,
truth.
Oh, that's terrible. I was like, why?
Right.
It is in me to never harm you or my family, obviously. You know what I mean? Because I do have virtue and morality, and I love my wife. I love you. I love Grandpa. You guys are my family. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I need to write you in the equation. The reason being is because you have the ability to be a threat. And if my goal is to make sure that the one bad guy is, I can overpower him and kill him, I don't want to make sure, I can kill him 100%. I want to make sure I can kill him 900%. Mm-hmm. That way he is so dead, and there is not even a single chance that he could ever even come close to even having an opportunity to hurt my family. Not even a chance.
Well, the one thing, when you were talking about Jody Pelosi earlier, it puts me in mind of like what he went through.
Nice guy, get his book.
Yes, I do agree. But it's also the fact of, you look at, the parents were the father was active, the mother was active, all this in that event, right? But they put trust in somebody that they barely knew.
Yeah.
But it's because, and that trust came out to be a very interesting story, but not a positive thing. You know what I mean? So the fact is that has gone to 1,000 times, where now people are putting trust in the internet, letting their kids run rampant on YouTube and be able to, the YouTube chats. You have to be careful of even what's the comments. Like, my son's not allowed to read the comment section of even the kids' YouTube videos.
Right.
Because God knows what's in there, and I tell him, if you're going to watch it, you're not allowed to look at the comments. You're not allowed to do anything. And my wife thought I was crazy when I'm like, I'm going to monitor what the kids are watching until they're 16. And I know what they're watching safe. Their habits are developed. They have the self-confidence, things like this. Like, my son, I have to work on his self-confidence constantly. But
same with my daughter.
I'm doing it my goal is not to make him a tough, mean little child, but to make him strong enough mentally,
and confident.
physically, and where as he gets older,
Mhm.
if somebody tries to talk him down, he has that mental
Mhm.
fortitude to say, no,
Yeah.
my mom loves me, my dad loves me, my dad would kill for me, my mom would fight
Right.
for me, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like all these different things we do are meant to help our kids be better, be stronger,
Oh
but
yeah.
we need to show them that somebody outside the family, and that's goes back to, I would like to say somebody outside the family can't be trusted, but then, like you pointed out, most likely the people listening to us talk are not the people that are self-evolved with their own selves so much, or doing the negative stuff to their kids, or just using them as, I can guarantee the people that are transing their kids are definitely not watching us.
They ought to.
They should, but they're they're not going to like the things we say, obviously.
Good.
Yes, which
Mhm.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of it comes down to is we need to really work on building up kind of our goal. We talk about
Mhm.
making traditional families or the traditional styles family, and I think a lot of that, a traditional family style in the modern age, has to
Yeah.
include not just being completely off grid. Most of us can, as much as the dream of being off grid and all this, most of us aren't going to do it, in all truth. And most people aren't going to like that kind of lifestyle, even if they think they want to do it. Because I can tell you, growing up in a small town, it's a much different life than what people see now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah. There was this guy. Um, his name's like I was just looking him up. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk.
all
Um,
right.
he's all over YouTube and Facebook and stuff. For a lot of it's like self promotion,
Mm-hmm.
um, stuff like that, like self confidence type content.
Right.
Owns a couple companies, whatever the guy does. I don't really know much about him, but he had a thing. Some lady went up to him, was like, what can I do as a parent to
Oh yeah, I seen
ensure
that clip.
to ensure that I protect my daughter more. And he leaned into her and he said, build her self confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best thing you can do for your kid. Number one protection to protect your child from predators or any sort of threat, and build their self confidence. Number one
Mm-hmm.
overall. How do you do that? There's no written way to do it.
Yeah, I
Look at
mean,
different techniques, Google stuff, read about stuff. But I can tell you, traditional values is one of the best ways to instill a mainframe. Women are women, girls are girls, boys are boys, men are men. Boys will always want to be strong, do physical stuff, fight, do cool things like ride bikes and skateboard and stuff. Girls
right.
will too, but girls like to care. Girls like to play with dolls. Girls like cooking. All of these things. And these are real things. The reason I say that is not to, society has put down the idea that women want to care for children and cook for their families. And that's like
Yeah.
the worst thing in the world, because that is actually the greatest thing that women have. They have a great skill that's so powerful. It's more powerful than anything in the world, is caring for a family. You know what I mean? So
Well,
it's my daughter, like, on her own. We didn't really like dolls. We don't really want dolls in the family, but on her own, I went to dolls. We ended up buying
right.
her a couple dolls. She wanted them, so
My
on her
daughter has a
own,
ton.
it's natural. It just happens. So I
Yeah.
would say that's one of the first steps into building their self confidence is identity. And if you build them into a false identity that's incorrect, then you're going to break their self-confidence down. You need to build their self-confidence by keeping their identity of who they are. You're a boy,
You know,
you're a girl.
you know, and this could be just whatever, but I'm not trying to be obviously I'm not a Bible thumper by any means. I do believe in God. I do teach my children, but
Yeah.
the one thing that on top of this I believe is that when if you do raise your kids with the relig the let me rephrase, if you raise your kids with the Christian background where, and I'm not talking one of these crazy stone somebody because they don't believe the same as you, but
That's only Islam.
well, if you I'm talking New Testament Christians, let me put it that way. So mind you, read the Old Testament because Jesus does teach the Old Testament, but understanding we're in a new covenant, following Christianity and following Jesus and understanding, teaching your children that they have a heavenly Father builds that also that they know that even when, like for my kids, I'm not around, I constantly tell them, God is there with you. God is there to help you. You can talk with him. You can tell him things if you don't want to tell me, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, my kids are too young to understand what they don't want to tell me. You know what I mean? But them knowing that they have a heavenly Father, they have somebody that is always there with them. Even if
Yeah.
you don't see them, you feel like you're alone, you always have somebody there with you. Doing that, I believe, will bring confidence as well and security because if you teach them religion, teach them Christianity, the New Testament, and what so have you, they'll understand love, virtues. They'll understand that these things that people are pushing, these satanic groups, these nihilistic groups,
Yeah.
that they're they're doing nothing but trying to destroy people because they don't have that in them.
Mhm.
They don't they don't have the ability to build good things.
Yeah.
So they want to find something and tear it down as much as they want. Teaching your
Yeah.
children the virtues and how to live as a good person, along with building their confidence, making sure that they know that they're loved, things like that. And like I'll admit, I can be harsh. I can be stubborn by all means.
Yeah.
I can be I can be laser focused, but the one thing I do is I make sure my kids know that I love them. I'm there for them, and
Every day. Yeah.
I teach them the Bible. I
Mhm.
teach them even if they don't remember the specific stories, they at least remember the purposes, the
Right.
lessons that are in it.
And even if you're not a religious person, I mean, you could go to any AI or just go to Google and
Right.
type in just generate me a list of all the moralities, moral teachings of the Bible without using religious factors. Just type that in, and it'll give you a list of them because you
Right.
don't need to be a Bible thumper to understand that killing somebody is bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Raping a woman is bad. These are like, I mean, at some point they should be just human logic, but clearly they are not for some religions, some countries, and some people. It
Right.
is how it is. So if we don't teach our children that, I would assume they'll assume it some way because we don't do it as parents, but you still can teach these type of moralities and virtues. You
Right.
don't have to be religious about it. It's good to be religious, obviously. Me and
Yeah.
you are very religious, but
Right.
I mean, you don't have to be. If you're not a religious person, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to like follow Christ and be a Baptist. To
But you can
understand
teach.
general morals.
You can still teach the virtues of Christianity without being a
Without
Christian.
Christianity, right? Yeah,
I mean, I'd like
right,
to believe if you do that, you'll end up drifting towards it, but
right. Yeah,
it's
that is
it's
true.
that whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, for sure.
But let's do this. We've been
Yeah,
kind of digging into this, and
yeah. So I want to do one thing before we jump
yeah,
off. I want to give the parents some quick notes because I was writing down some notes earlier on just some things in different quick ways to kind of ensure, if you are going to let your kid use it, here's some ways, to kind of help, you know what I mean?
All right.
So one is, just have the conversation with them, kind of tell them, some adults online aren't that nice,
Right.
they pretend to be kids to hurt other kids and stuff like that. So if anyone ever asks you, one of the things is if anyone ever asks you to keep a secret from your mom and dad, that's number one.
Yeah.
Immediately come tell us and immediately shut it down. And then, your parents will hate you if they find out. These are different target words. So these are bad. No, they will not. Your parents will never. And you have to ensure them this. Say, we will never hate you for this. You just come tell us so we can stop these bad people. Another one, there's no private chats with anyone you haven't met in real life with your parents.
Right.
No pictures or video of your body ever to anyone ever online ever. If anyone scares you or asks you to hurt yourself or an animal, tell them immediately no and just hang up and just get offline immediately. I know some of them have privacy protections. So like Discord has a family center, disabled DMs from non-friends. That way you have to be connected to a friend in order to be a DM. But if you turn on family center at the same time, the parents get notified every time the person gets a new friend, right? So you can control who is there and who is not. Roblox you can disable private messages completely. Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok, same thing. Set the account to private, friends only for DMs, stuff like that. iPhones, use Apple's new communication safety that automatically blurs nudes and warns the child, stuff like that. Android and Google Family Link, some of these, they all have some of this stuff. You can put in there to search for things like 764, cut signs, fan sign, harm. You can put those keywords in there in your phones to ensure that your phone, when it finds, whenever you're looking up something or some of your website or whatever is going to this or whatever app is going to that, it'll just stop it. It'll just won't allow you to go to it if it's got that information in there. So you can do that. So let's see. Some red flag behaviors. New secret second account or a burner phone to watch out for. Suddenly covering the camera or flipping the screen when you walk in. Unexplained cuts, burns, or writing on your kids' bodies or other people. If you look at somebody online to check out, you're talking to somebody for your child just to make sure they're okay, and you see those sort of like harmed signs, like cuts, burns, whatever, just cut it off. Done. Yep, goodbye. Staying up late, obviously gaming and stuff like that. No. Talking about a new friend that's older, stuff like that. Understands me, but you never met him, stuff like that. No, goodbye. Ways to check in. Once a week. Check in once a week or once. I would check in constantly, every usage, literally. But who's the coolest person you've ever talked to online this week? Do questions like that. If they get a little hesitant or defensive, you wouldn't understand. Dig deeper.
Yeah.
And find it. You know what I mean? And then of course there's different ways to reporting. So tell them if anyone ever has pictures of you or is threatening you, make sure you come to me first. Your mom, your dad. We'll fix it together. And this is more for teens. We won't involve the police. We'll just shut it down. Many kids will stay silent because they're scared of that stuff. Just say it's okay. This is where you build that self-confidence and reassure the parent or reassure the child that the parent is there to love them, care for them, protect them. So kids will make mistakes, and if they do, okay. If they did give up their images or nude images of their teenage bodies to some creep online, this is where you just kind of, let Thailand have Thailand, see ya, just let them have the pictures, you move on, and you just cut it off right there. They
You
can
deal
keep
with
the
the
pictures. Yeah,
deal with
you
the
suck it up, you deal with the
consequences.
consequences, and I guess they got pictures of me, is what it is, and you move on, or I guess they
Yeah.
got pictures of my child, and you move on. You just
Well,
simply shut it down at that point. You know what I mean?
I think the one thing I will say that, sorry to interrupt you, but the one
Yeah,
thing I
no,
will say is I think that with the advent of AI and internet security soon,
hmm
that will be more of a thing to kind of be protective to avoid it. But
hmm
there's there's a whole lot that I imagine this list probably is halfway through. So
yeah. Oh
there's
no,
a
I got the last thing on my list was just emergency responses, how to talk to police and stuff like that.
okay.
So if you do discover any of this stuff, the 764 group, or even if it's not them or anybody else, you know what I mean? So number one, don't confront the abuser. Just shut it down. You know what I mean? Don't pay anything. For God's sakes,
No,
don't pay anything. Ever. That's dumb.
no,
Take screenshots if you can. Don't ever delete anything. Block the accounts. Immediately report. There's cybertipline.org. It's the fastest route to the FBI. It's NCMEC. Then there's tips.fbi.gov. And then there's 1-800-CALL-FBI. And then there's Call RAIN, RAINN. That's 1-800-656-4673. That one's free trauma counseling within minutes. You know what I mean? So
okay.
those are just some ways, tips to help with that stuff. You know, stuff that I wrote down. I did some research. I thought of my own stuff and kind of built that list. So
Right, and we'll add that list onto the show notes and have resources on callwithdads.com to be able to access it. So, I mean, the big thing is there's a lot of stuff in, like I said, all this stuff isn't new stuff, but it's new in the sense of you have to look at it with a technology kind of focus.
right,
So, I think it's a great list. It's definitely something that we need to pay attention to, use the proper tools,
hmm
and use what we can to avoid. But I think the big thing is also, like, was it you mentioned about making sure your kids know to come talk to you. You won't be upset with them.
hmm
You'll still love them. This and that. I think Jody Pelosi in his conversation. I know we're referencing him quite a
Cliche.
bit. Pelosi, yes, but and he even says everyone messes up his name, so I don't feel
Yeah,
horribly, but I still feel bad when I say it wrong. But one thing Jody did say is that a lot of kids, when they're sexually abused or whatever, part of the reason they don't report it is because the abuser says, if you tell anyone, they will take me away, they will hurt me, they will do this.
yeah,
And they they make the kids feel like they're going to be the reason that this person who's hurting them is going to get hurt.
right.
So I might repost that video just bring it back up, but it's um it's something that people need to be aware of, that we need to focus on protecting our kids. Make sure that they know that we are here for them, and our for better or worse, we will deal with whatever comes.
Yeah.
And I think that will make a whole lot of changes. Let's do
Well,
this.
yeah. Sorry. One last thing. There's also an OnlyFans for teens. It's called Brand Army.
Yeah, I heard that.
Don't let your kids on Brand Army. And if you let your kids on Brand Army, that's because you want them to be on there. So it basically is underage. You have to be underage, under the age of 18, in order to be a content creator. You have to be a content creator to be on there. under the age of 18, obviously, and they promote like bikini photos and nude photos and stuff like that of underage kids. Obviously, they can't be completely nude because they're underage. And in order for you to buy a subscription to be a consumer, get this, you have to be 18 or older. So,
yeah, that goes to tell you what people are on there for.
Yeah, they're literally putting it right in your front of your face. It is literally displayed in front of you. They are telling on themselves. So it is a platform for underage kids, specifically to be content creators and share revealing images of themselves. But the consumers have to be 18 years of older.
Yeah, I don't know how that's even legal, to be honest with you.
I'm assuming it's under current investigation. But yeah, just FYI. Anyways.
Yeah, so let's do this because I'm literally trying not to get myself worked up because this obviously is a topic that with kids, I don't think anyone should be harming kids. But let's do this. I have a schedule to keep like normal. I hate to say that, but where do people find you if they want to find you, if they want to talk to you, so on and so on?
Yeah, so pancakeswithyourdad.com. That's the main central location for the Pancakes with Your Dad kind of social media stuff with some information. There's woodworking plans on there. There's different blogs with some information. Some fun, some informative. There's some pancake recipes. There's tons of fun stuff on there. There's also all of our social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and True Social. You can go to any of those, connect with me, send your connection request or whatever, follow, whatever, like, share our stuff, as best you can. But that's the main one. Then the one that is still kind of, it's going, but obviously we're still working on it a lot because this one's a lot more in depth, is the nonprofits American Liberty Foundation. It's american-liberty-foundation.org. The website is still down. Sorry. But I tried to put it back up, and I end up finding out that I have to rebuild the entire thing from scratch. So that's what I'm doing. So it is down. That's what I'm doing that now. But you can still go to all of our social medias. And I do think there are links in the social medias for donations. If you want to find one of the donation links and donate right away to one of those links. But we have Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, as well as a True Social as well. So please, any money that you donate will definitely help keep the website going, help us hopefully develop more programs and develop more information and content. So,
sounds good. Yeah. Perfect. And of course, callwithdads.com. You can find all of our videos, our audios, everything there. Where this is first time live streaming on Kick, so we're new on Kick. So if you're a fan there, you can follow us on Kick as well. And
never even heard of
it. But we're trying to get out there. We're trying to put where we're going to reach as many people because we feel our message is important and is something that needs to be get out there. So
yeah.
If you want, you can donate to us, buy us a cup of coffee. You can buy a cup of coffee. You can donate. I think I even have crypto set up. So if you're conspiracy theory like me and you don't want the government tracking you, there is that.
And we got merch. Buy merch from both of our sites.
Exactly.
Buy merch.
Call it dads. I just put a great, or what is it? Best period, dad period, ever period. Merchandise that I'm starting to work on. I have some stuff up there. I'm gonna get more different designs and looks and what's have you, but it's all there. Go have fun, see what's there. We have articles, summaries of the show. Yep. Go there, of course, follow us, let people know about us, and that's really all we have to say. So with that, goodbye.
Yeah, awesome guys, thanks.